on the auto space now. Pramod Kumar, the India Auto Analyst at UBS Securities, joins us from the sidelines of the UBS India Summit 2024. Hi, Pramod. Good morning, and thanks a lot for joining in. Well, interesting note you've written on Hero MotoCorp. There's been a lot of focus that rural recovery will come about, but you believe that, in fact, Hero MotoCorp has been losing market share, and they are losing out because of the EV penetration as well. Give us your rationale and the outlook from here on.
Yeah, good morning, Nigel. Great to be here. Thanks a lot for your time and inviting me here. I can't comment on company specific, but what we are trying to address in this report is the prism with which the market and the investor community has been looking at the rural consumer for the longest period of time doesn't hold good in the current context, because what you're seeing is the profile of the rural consumer, the aspirations of the rural consumers have changed quite a lot compared to the previous decades, when the rural consumer, the first-time buyer, used to be a guy in his mid-30s. Now what you see is most of these consumers are in their mid-20s. They are very aspirational. They're exposed to internet. They have a smartphone and they consume a lot of data, right? So their aspirations are changing. And at the same time, let's also not forget that a lot of the first-time buyers are extremely cost-conscious in terms of both the acquisition cost and the operational cost of running the vehicle. And now, and back in the day, the commuter motorcycles used to be the cheapest product to buy and the cheapest one to run from a fuel economy and maintenance cost perspective. But now, these consumers have choice of some of the EV models, which are not only available in these markets now, but are available at a cheaper price than the ICE commuter motorcycle price points. And they practically come with near zero OPEX as compared to a gasoline motorcycle. Now, those are choices which were not there available for the consumer back in the day. And at the same time, we also need to appreciate the fact that the family construct is changing in rural India. You have women needing more mobility. You have kids who need mobility. And a motorcycle has a very narrow appeal in that sense from a household perspective, right? But when you look at an electric scooter or an ICE scooter for that matter, which is also gaining traction in rural India and semi-urban India, that product can serve the need of everyone in the family. So these are things which are changing, and the rural consumer's aspiration is changing. And we have to be honest about it. A 100cc motorcycle doesn't have the aspirational value, right? So
Pramod,
these are the things which we're seeing in data as well, by the way. Yeah.
Some pretty interesting sort of reasoning, which we don't usually hear. At a very basic level, 3,300 is your price target in Hero. Ouch! I mean, that's I think is one of the lowest out there that I've seen. Does that kind of extend to the other two-wheeler companies as well? I mean, the reasoning holds true for TVS, Bajaj, without naming names.
Absolutely. So we won't comment on names, but anyone who's geared to the changing consumer aspiration is well positioned. You can see that in Vahan market share data, Prashant, as in, hi Prashant, by the way, sorry. You can see the data for yourself. Companies which are aligned to the scooterization theme, to the electrification theme, have been generally doing very well. And I just want to add one more point here. We're not only talking about electric vehicles, but if you pick up the market share from Vahan database and look at companies, including the unlisted ones, which are aligned with the scooter category, you will see that they've been gaining market share consistently month after month. So this is kind of very well backed by dispatch data from companies in terms of scooters have grown at 2x the growth rate of motorcycles, and EVs have done exceptionally well. And the category which is underperforming is the commuter motorcycle category.
All right, take that point. Pramod, on the four-wheelers, what's your view? Because we've had a recent listing. Hyundai also give decent commentary from a business standpoint. You have Maruti, everyone's eyeing the SUV space, the affordable car space, but also having a key in the door, if I may, the EV space. Amidst all the listed players right now and the way the industry is positioned, who do you think stands to benefit the most here?
Again, I can't get into specific names, but the fact is you need to look at everything from a consumer's prism. EV is great, hybrid is also option, and CNG, let's not forget CNG, which is already 20% of industry demand now, right? So these things are something that the consumer picks based on his requirement. And we believe India as a market, India as a country is better served by having a very diversified portfolio powertrain mix instead of betting the future on only one technology. So the customer decides what he wants, and as you can see from the data, again, everything is on the public domain on Vahan. electric vehicle penetration is kind of stagnating at around 2% of new vehicle sales. CNG has grown to 20% of new vehicle sales, and hybrids, by the way, strong hybrids, are not very far from EVs without any subsidy support. So the customer is clearly voting with his purchase decision. So we think it's a diversified powertrain mix which actually serves the consumer and the country well, and also companies which have a diversified powertrain mix. For them, any fuel or every fuel is an option, and they're able to sell what the customer wants. So in that sense, we would our stock picking is in a way aligned with companies which have a diversified powertrain mix and who will not be exposed or stand vulnerable just in case the regulatory framework in terms of subsidies changes. For example, let's not forget that electric two-wheelers subsidies have collapsed by almost 75 percentage points, but electric two-wheelers are continuing to see traction in the two-wheeler market. But the same can't be told about cars, electric cars, where subsidy support has been more or less stable, right? But we are seeing hybrids gaining traction without any subsidy support. Because the consumer in the real world, the hybrid makes more sense because the charging infrastructure constraint is not there. And hybrid is in a way a best of both worlds because you get a fuel economy which is almost 2x of a conventional vehicle, and there is no constraint of a charging infrastructure or range anxiety for that matter.
Okay, all right, Pramod, thanks a lot for joining in. Wishing you a good conference and appreciate you joining in with all of those thoughts. Well, time to get back to the markets. The pre-open is settled down and we're likely to open up in the red. Mitesh